It's me, Timmy Flyers Guy, and welcome to the season finale of Flyers Minor League Report Phantoms Edition. I'm your host, Timmy Flyers Guy. And it's been a tough season for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. It all started back in Flyers training camp when Wade Allison went down with an injury. Also another injury, and a couple of players had to have surgery. Tyson Forrester missed the season due to injury as well, and Dave Wisdom was out without recovering from shoulder surgery. It was a tough go for the Phantoms. They started out very slowly, but we really started to get things going again in the month of December and also the month of January. Consider with a win over the Utica Comets, which was a come-behind win, 6-5. When the Phantoms were down 5-1, they managed to come back and beat Utica 6-5. That was one of the most memorable wins in Lehigh Valley Phantoms history. Then the Lehigh Valley Phantoms started to go up and down. There were times when they had winning streaks and times when they had losing streaks. But this team was very, very resilient in a way. Unfortunately, they could not make the playoffs. So right now, the Phantoms are playing for pride right now. It's been tough for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. And in my opinion, they were outmatched many nights, and they had so many chances to make the playoffs, and they could not capitalize on those chances. But anyway, the Phantoms did have a pretty good season. A lot of players, there are a lot of people on this team who played very good on this hockey team. Keller Riley had a great season. Sandstrom had a great season. The team just seemed to struggle with injuries and COVID protocols. It was just a tough season for this Lehigh Valley Phantoms team. So we're going to take a look back at the months of Lehigh Valley Phantoms hockey. I compiled all these videos together. So we're going to take a look back at the Lehigh Valley Phantoms and their many weeks of hockey. So everyone, here's Steve Degler for your Phantoms weekly reports that I compiled together. So check them out.
When it comes to the first half of the season, it's been a tale of two very different ones for the Phantoms, winning 3 games over the first 19 contests, nearly quadrupling that number through the next 18.
It was a tough start there. I wouldn't say we played bad or anything. It's close games all the time, and we ended up on the wrong side of it. And eventually it came to us, and we I think we stayed to structure, and we played good and kept fighting and battling all the time. And eventually the wins started coming, and confidence started building, and now we feel stronger and better. And I think you just gotta keep building on that and keep the confidence high.
With the Flyers on pause due to the NHL All-Star break, Lehigh Valley gets some reinforcements for the weekend. Morgan Frost and Isaac Ratcliffe among those returning to Allentown, though some reserve players have impressed in their absence, including defenseman Ryan McKinnon, who will play his 6th game at forward tonight.
He deserved to be in, and he's going to stay in, and I told the team today, and hopefully other guys will learn from that, because he's doing everything I'm asking him to do. He has the right questions. He sits with Riley Armstrong, asks our staff when he does something wrong or what he should do there, and he's very invested into the team, and that's why he's been around for 2 months. He's just, he didn't play much, but he's always all out in practice, and for me, that's the team I want to build.
Cam York, who scored 3 points in 13 games with the Flyers, will also suit up for Coach LaPerriere tonight against Providence, looking to get more games and more minutes with the Phantoms.
For me, I'm a guy that's always played pretty big minutes, and I wasn't playing, 20 plus the past few games there with Philly. So I think to come back here and play a lot, play in all situations will be good for me, and kind of just a little bit of a breath of fresh air.
For all those guys going up, they have that taste. They want to go back at it. And for a lot of those guys, they come back down, they work harder, and that's why I'm demanding from those guys when I met with them today. I want you to work harder and go back up there. I said that since day one. I don't want those guys to be here. I want to do everything I can to help them go to the next level.
Lehigh Valley will take the extra bodies and talent as long as they stay in the AHL. The Phantoms 6-5-5 on home ice this season, looking to get back to 500 overall with a win against the P. Bruins tonight. On the scene, I'm Christy Fulkerson for the Service Electric Network.
The Orange and Black kicked off a 4-game road trip last night with a stop in Chocolatetown. Short-handed roster with several players out due to COVID protocols. Phantoms found themselves down 3-0 midway through the contest, still rallied to send the game to overtime, ultimately falling in the bonus session. But the team's point streak up to 8 consecutive games now. This directly on the heels of an 8-game winless skid. With more on the Orange and Black, let's welcome in our lead Phantoms broadcaster, Steve Degler, into our SEN studios. Degs, first and foremost, can you please help us make some sense of what's going on with this hockey team?
Well, I wish I could, Dan, because it has really been an interesting season, that is for sure. And it really started that way right out of training camp. A lot of injuries that we weren't expecting. No Tanner Lazinski, no Ryan Fitzgerald. Tyson Forster goes down early in the season. And oh yeah, that COVID thing has really reared its ugly head as well, with all the postponements, plus now the taxi squad. So the roster has been different virtually every game. Phantoms struggled scoring goals coming out of the gate. They had 1 goal in each of their first 4 games. But as you mentioned, 8 straight with points. They're a little bit healthier, and things are certainly pointing in the right direction right now.
7-0 or 6-0-2 now over the last 8 games. And now that we're into 2022, we got 3 months of hockey under our belt. Thought it might be a nice time to kind of check in on some of the major storylines for the first, we'll call it half of the season. So let's start with, in your opinion, the biggest surprise for this hockey team so far.
Sometimes these are very difficult to come up with, but this to me was a very easy one. I mean, we're talking about a guy who made the Phantoms coming out of training camp, and when things got underway back in September into early October, this was a player who was probably close to starting the season in Reading, not in Lehigh Valley. Entering the season, Hayden Hodgson had played 41 games in the AHL, all of them in the 17-18 season with Cleveland, scoring 3 goals and adding 3 assists. Since then, he's played primarily in the ECHL and a short stint in Slovakia. After signing with Reading in July, he was invited to the Lehigh Valley training camp. Injuries leaving the Phantoms shorthanded at the beginning, and Hodgson has taken great advantage of his opportunity, signing an AHL contract in October. This is a guy with size, speed, and a really good shot. But no one saw this coming. He has become one of the team's top scorers despite missing 7 games. The 6'2", 215-pounder from Windsor, Ontario, has posted 6 goals and 7 assists for 13 points, 7th most on the team. He has the only 4-point game by a Phantom, and he is +7 on the season, and he's also brought a physical presence to the team. Hodgson has gone from being a virtual unknown at the start of training camp to a vital piece of the Phantoms as we approach the halfway point of the season, and his head coach, Ian LaPerriere, has certainly taken notice.
For me, he's been one of our top forward all year. He came out of nowhere, and I didn't know. That's another guy I didn't know he was. And I know why, because I asked him 2 weeks ago. I'm like, am I missing something in you? Like, I mean, I love your game, don't get me wrong, but how come I've never heard of you? You got a big injury, and you took a year off, and that's probably why I don't know who he is, but he sure is making a name for himself right now.
He sure is making a name for himself right now. And you're right, sometimes biggest surprise, a tough selection. This is low-hanging fruit. It's the right call for a guy. You said he plays with size, he plays with speed, he's got some offensive ability. Reminds us a lot of Max Willman and that story of ECHL to AHL. And head coach Ian LaPerriere has even told us he could see him potentially cracking an NHL roster down the road.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, he really is on the same path that Max Willman was on. He's a different type of player, but he has been sneaky good for this team. And he's gone from a guy that was in the lineup because he had to be to a guy now you can't take out of the lineup.
You mentioned he has the only 4-point game for a Lehigh Valley Phantom this season. Let's focus more on that individual side of things. For you, the best individual performance so far?
Well, I nearly doubled up. I nearly went went with Hodgson again because of that 4-point game. As Dan mentioned, no other Phantom has done that, but I went to the net instead for this honor, and we're going to look at the goaltending for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. And Ian LaPerriere has said all season long he's had very few, if any, issues with his goaltending, and the Phantoms have been forced to use 6 netminders already. There have been several games this year where the Phantoms goalie has been their best player on the ice for long stretches of time. They've been able to keep the team in almost all of the games, giving Lehigh Valley a chance to pick up valuable points in the Atlantic Division standings. When he has been with the Phantoms, 24-year-old Felix Sandstrom has been the main guy between the pipes this season, playing in 15 of the team's 27 games thus far. His strong finish last season has carried over to the current campaign as well. This is from November 3rd. Sandstrom was a brick wall against the Wilkes-Barre-Scranton Penguins at PPL Center. The Flyers' third-round pick in 2015 has posted 2 shutouts in his native Sweden, and he has a couple more in the ECHL with the Reading Royals. On this night, he blanked the Baby Pen, stopping all 25 shots sent his way, including 10 in the first period, for his first career AHL shutout. The saying in hockey goes that your goalie needs to be your best penalty killer. Sandstrom proved that in this game as he helped the Phantoms kill off all 8 Wilkes-Barre-Scranton power plays to preserve the shutout. Sandstrom was rewarded for his strong play as he made his NHL debut with the Flyers last week. He was very impressive there as well, stopping 43 of 46 shots in an overtime loss at San Jose. And Dan, those 43 saves for Sandstrom, the most by a Flyers goaltender making his NHL debut. He was worthy of the call-up, and he nearly pulled off a miraculous win for them on the road in that contest.
He gave the Flyers a chance to win that night. When he's been in the net for Lehigh Valley, he's given this team a chance to win. A tremendous individual performance for Felix on that night, and that was a win this team needed. Remember, it was early November. That was the first win that this team got this season, also the first head coaching victory for Ian LaPerriere. So that was a nice moment early on in the season. Win number 1 when it comes 8 games in, probably not the best moment of the season. So what has been the best moment so far?
For me, this is going to be one that might get this honor every single year. It's one of the best nights at PPL Center. It's the annual Teddy Bear Toss game. The big question going into every one of these is which Phantom will be the one to score the teddy bear goal. Stuffed animals of all shapes and sizes brought to PPL Center with fans waiting for that first Phantoms goal December 11th. The big moment came 9 minutes into the first period. Cam York entered the zone in the left wing. He found a hard-charging Wade Allison going to the net. Daniil Tarasov makes the initial save, but Jerry Mayhew was there for the rebound and connected for his 8th goal of the year. Allison started this play at the other end and rushed up ice, and Mayhew was in a perfect spot to convert and start the celebration. The game, as you might expect, was delayed for several minutes as fans tossed all of their stuffed animals onto the ice. The total number of bears, bunnies, and whatever this year was 6,593, with all of them donated to Valley Youth House to help make the holidays a little brighter for underprivileged children in the Lehigh Valley. And as usual, this is also part of the coolness of this event. The players and Melvin were willing participants in the cleanup efforts on the ice. But then, after that was done, it was back to the game. Pat Nagel took over in net for the Phantoms to start the second period. Just 1:46 into the frame, Igor Zamula hauled down the Monsters' Carson Meyer, who was awarded a penalty shot. Nagel was more than ready, denying Meyer to keep it a 1-1 game. Cleveland eventually took a 2-1 lead, but that was the only goal Nagel allowed in relief of Sandstrom. The veteran netminder stopped 21 of 22 Cleveland shots, and the Phantoms got the last 3 goals of the night from Zamula, Adam Clendenning, and Maxim Sushko for a 4-2 victory. The 34-year-old Nagel has posted 198 wins in the ECHL. This victory was his first in a Phantoms uniform. He signed with Lehigh Valley back in September and is in his 11th professional season. The great night started with Mayhew, however, and scoring in these games has become quite the habit for him.
Man, there were a lot of teddy bears. That took a long time, but no, it was great. I think I've had 4 out of 5 teddy bear toss games I've scored, so it's kind of just good luck for me. We had a little bet going on with the guys, and it was nice. It was a good play by Allison. He kind of put it out front for a rebound. I just tapped it in, so yeah, special.
You just want to make a big save. We had a great first period. We came out strong, got that goal, got going. Felix was playing well, and so I just wanted to build off of that.
In 7 teddy bear tosses now, the number of donated stuffed animals north of 37,000. You're right, this is also low-hanging fruit for me, one of my annual best moments of the season. Also, this feels like ancient history now because lest we not forget, that victory snapped an 8-game winless skid for Lehigh Valley and was the start of this current 8-game point streak that they're now on.
It was much needed, that's for sure. The team was really struggling. They were almost finding ways to lose games, where now they're finding ways to be able to get points in games with a couple of big comebacks, and that was really the start of it. And Nagel gets a lot of credit for coming in a situation where you don't know your goaltender's injured. It didn't happen during the game. It happened between periods when Sandstrom was not feeling well. And lo and behold, he went in there, and the veteran did his job with a great effort, and Mayhew brought down the teddy bears and the stuffed animals in just an awesome sight at PPL Center.
One of the best nights every single year, and great to have this one back after we had just a virtual teddy bear toss a year ago. So we mentioned that was the start of points in 8 consecutive games. We've seen some really fun, entertaining, good games from the Phantoms since. What's been the best game this team has played all year?
Well, this is also kind of an easy one for me. We go back to New Year's Eve and the Phantoms with a huge comeback win at Utica. Now, keep in mind, it is a holiday. You're playing on the road on New Year's Eve. You're facing the best team in the league. The Comets were 18-1-2. And this night did not get off to a good start, that is for sure. Just 2 minutes and 55 seconds in, Chase DeLeo gets behind the Phantoms defense and nets his 4th of the year to quickly make it 1-0 Comets. 3.5 minutes later, Colton White rockets home his first of the season to increase the lead to 2-0. At 13-17, it's DeLeo again, this time from the slot. It's 3-0 Utica after 1. And 5 minutes into the second period, it's White again, this time from the left side, and it's a 4-goal deficit. Phantoms get the comeback, though. Maxime Sushko finds Logan Day for his first of the year. Down 5-1, Igor Zamula's shot is tipped in front of the net by Isaac Radcliffe. That pulls the Phantoms within 5-2 late in the second period. It is all Phantoms in the third period. Cal O'Reilly with the steal. Hayden Hodgson rips home his 5th of the year to slice it to 5-3. Less than 4 minutes later, Garrett Wilson with the redirect in front, his 7th of the year, and we've got a 1-goal game. In the final minute, the Phantoms pull goalie Pat Nagel for the extra attacker. O'Reilly's sweet seam pass finds Hodgson again. Blasts one past Merrick's mittens to tie the game at 5, and we go on to overtime in Utica. Same 2 Phantoms in reverse order. Hodgson comes up with a steal, and he will find O'Reilly for the tap-in, the captain's 4th of the season, and the Phantoms come back for an absolutely amazing 6-5 win at Utica to keep that point streak alive. Really an incredible win considering the circumstances.
And that, plus the Phantoms were 0-4 in overtime outcomes leading up to that, and it was a Utica team that in 11 prior home games had allowed 19 total goals against. The Phantoms roughed them up for 6 on that one night. Okay, so that's what has been. What about moving forward? Quickly, Deggs, expectations for this team kind of going forward now over the course of the next few months?
Well, certainly the health situation is going to be very vital for this team and every team in the AHL. We're not quite at the halfway point right now. The AHL has extended the season to April 30th. They've expanded the playoffs, so 6 of 8 teams in the Atlantic Division are going to make the playoffs. Lehigh Valley is in spot number 6 right now, up from the basement. I expect this team to get healthier. Hopefully we'll see some guys coming back. Whether we will get a Tanner Lazinski or a Ryan Fitzgerald, we don't know. Maybe Tyson Forster late in the year. The NHL situation will be a factor as well. How many guys will be on the taxi squad and things like that. But the way this team has trended the last couple of weeks, I'm very optimistic that this is certainly a playoff team. Well, from what we've seen, they're better than a lot of teams in the division. So I think we're in for an exciting finish here at PPL Center for the rest of the season.
Phantoms are scheduled to be on the road this weekend and the early part of next week. They'll return home. PPL Center next Saturday and Sunday. Of course, we'll have live coverage for you right here on SEN with our own Steve Degler and Steven Swavely up in the booth. Deggs, thanks so much for joining us this evening.
Dan.
Before the team kicks off its most pivotal month of the season, let's first look back on some of the best for the Phantoms so far. That's the focus of this week's edition of Top Plays, the top 10 Phantoms goals scored so far, and what better place to start than at the very beginning. And with the first goal scored on home ice this season coming courtesy of Max Willman, who would score short-handed with just 36 seconds left in the opening period of Lehigh Valley's home opener with Hartford. One of 7 short-handed goals scored by the Phantoms so far this season, Willman has 2 of them. Morgan Frost setting this one up, just as he would do then again for Willman just a couple weeks later, this time against Springfield, when tenacious work by Frost would create a 2-on-1. Tremendous patience by the former first-rounder before sliding across ice past to Willman, who buries in close. Check out the slick hands in tight quarters by Max Willman. That was his 6th goal of the season at the time. He's got 9 in 18 games, playing most of the season with the big club up in Philly. Another guy who spent most of the year in the NHL is Jerry Mayhew. In fact, by Christmas, he was a full-time Flyer. But before that, he was the one responsible for triggering this year's stuffed animal storm by netting the coveted teddy bear toss goal a little over 9 minutes into the team's mid-December showdown with Cleveland. Mayhew's 8th goal of the season, prompting 6,593 teddy bears and stuffed animals to be thrown onto the ice. Mayhew's goal also kick-starting a 4-2 win over the Monsters. Phantoms followed that victory with a milestone moment the very next night, when Garrett Wilson would tally the 100th goal of his American Hockey League career. A go-ahead tally midway through the second period against Hartford, en route to what would ultimately become Lehigh Valley's first win beyond regulation in 6 tries. Second of 3 straight triumphs for the Orange and Black, part of a season-high 9-game point streak for Lehigh Valley, which was extended just 6 days later thanks to another big goal from the alternate captain. Phantoms down 3-2 against Rochester with less than a minute to go in regulation when a friendly carom off the end boards pops a loose puck into the slot where Wilson is in the right place at the right time to hammer home the equalizer. Phantoms would ultimately fall into shootout, but able to keep their point streak alive thanks to Wilson's late-game heroics. Speaking of late-game heroics, no player on Lehigh Valley's roster has more game-winning goals this season than Adam Clendenning, the veteran defenseman with a trio of winners, the most dramatic of which came on New Year's Day, when Clendenning pushed the Phantoms to a 2-1 overtime victory against Bridgeport with this bonus session beauty. His 4th goal of the season at the time, he's now up to 5 tallies and 32 points overall. Good for second best on the team in total scoring. January started with a bang, it ended with 1-2. Phantoms down 2-1 late in regulation to rival Hershey when back-to-back goals from Cal O'Reilly and Linus Sandin, just over 2 minutes apart, propelled Lehigh Valley to a come-from-behind 3-2 victory over the Bears. The captain with a shorty before Sandin nets the eventual winner. O'Reilly finished the night with a pair of goals. He's your team leader in total scoring with 42 points overall. One of the hallmarks of this Phantoms team this season has been goal-scoring contributions from some unlikely sources. That's where we're going for our next 2 goals. The first of which comes from Alex Kyle, who was signed from the ECHL in mid-January, netting this sensational goal against Hershey less than a month later. Silky, smooth, hands in close, leading to his 3rd goal of the year, part of a 3-goal first frame for Lehigh Valley, en route to a convincing 6-3 doubling up of the rival Bears. Lehigh Valley and Hershey hooking up just 2 days later when the poster child for goals from unlikely sources struck again. Hayden Hodgson with a one-time power play scorcher from the left circle, tying the game at 1 apiece before the Phantoms would ultimately top the Bears 3-2. Hodgson, who hadn't played in the AHL since 2018, is tied for the team lead with 18 goals, recently earning an NHL contract before scoring in his National Hockey League debut. Phantoms will finally be back home this weekend after a season-long 6-game road trip. The last time they took the ice at 7th and Hamilton, they rallied for a come-from-behind victory over Hartford, a game that featured a pair of sensational passes leading to Lehigh Valley goals. After Isaac Ratcliffe went cross-ice for a Hayden Hodgson tally, Linus Sandin went across the rink to Logan Day for the game winner with just over 4 minutes to play. After trailing 4-2 after the opening period, Lehigh Valley would battle all the way back to top the Wolfpack 6-5, improving the Phantoms' mark on home ice this year to 11-11-6.
That video shows how consistent the Phantoms are and how inconsistent they've been over this season. It's been a tough season for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Many factors contribute to the Phantoms' lack of postseason this year, and that is the many injuries, the COVID protocols, and the cancellations to many Phantoms games. It's been a tough season for the Phantoms. They've had quite the goaltending carousel with goalie Pat Nagel, Garrett Metcalf, and many other goaltenders that were in the lineup for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Hopefully this team will be better when many players come back in the lineup next season. Well, but there have been so many memorable moments for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. One moment in particular is when the Lehigh Valley Phantoms honored Cal O'Reilly for his 1,000th game as the Lehigh Valley Phantom. Let's take a look back at Cal O'Reilly's 1,000th game.
April 14th, 2006. That's when a then 19-year-old Cal O'Reilly made his professional ice hockey debut. It was a fairly uneventful evening statistically for O'Reilly, who didn't manage a point nor a shot on goal in the Milwaukee Admirals' 3-2 win over the Chicago Wolves. An unassuming beginning for the Toronto native, who has been the model of consistency and production ever since, and who nearly 16 years later will hit the ice tonight for his 1,000th career professional game.
I can talk about him all day if you want me to. Like, you know, I said it and I'm going to say it again. I feel like as a first-year head coach, I'm privileged. I'm lucky to have guys like him. How can you not cheer for a guy like that? Play 1,000 games like coming up on Friday and plays the right way. You know, he structurally never deviate, even when we were struggling. He kept with the message. And I said it before, like I can do so much as a head coach. My staff can do so much as assistant coach. We need guys like that to be the extension of ourselves in the locker room. And he's been that since day one.
With tonight's clash against Laval, O'Reilly will have appeared in 809 AHL outings to go along with 145 National Hockey League games and another 46 in the KHL. A former fifth-round selection by Nashville back in 2005, he suited up for 8 different American Hockey League teams, serving as captain in Utica, Rochester, Iowa, and now Lehigh Valley. A 5-time AHL All-Star, O'Reilly has produced 40 or more points in a season 10 times, including this year, where he's already matched a career high with 18 goals in just 57 games played. A player whose statistical production will go down among the all-time greats in American Hockey League history. And yet seemingly, it's his impact off the ice that most impresses his teammates.
Cal's work ethic is, better than anyone that I've seen come through this organization. He's always one of the last guys off the ice in practice. He's always one of the first guys here in the morning, and you always find him in the gym, either stretching out or rolling out. I don't know if it's because he's an old guy now, but his work ethic is really what's gotten him here in his career too. And 1,000 games, that's a lot of hockey, and that's a lot of people supporting him on the way too, but that's a lot of work ethic for a long time.
Now, even though the Phantoms are on the road this weekend, there's still plenty of hockey fun to be had in Center City, Allentown, as the NCAA Men's Ice Hockey Tournament is set to host the Midwest Regional at 7th and Hamilton for the 3rd time in the last 5 years. Michigan, Quinnipiac, St. Cloud State, and American International all hit the ice for opening round games today, before Sunday's regional final determines the Midwest participant in the Frozen Four. 13 current Phantoms are products of college hockey, including forward Tanner Lazinski, whose Ohio State Buckeyes reached the Frozen Four back in 2018 after claiming the Midwest Regional in the building that now serves as Lazinski's home barn.
It was unbelievable. Coming in, we had a pretty good team, and we just kind of were taking it a game at a time. And at the end of the day, we were playing a pretty good team in Denver, and we were able to win and be able to go to the Frozen Four, which was probably one of the coolest experiences for me throughout my college career.
Lazinski spent 4 years with the Buckeyes before turning pro in 2020. Ditto for Michigan alum Alex Kyle, who started his professional career in 2017 after 4 seasons with the Wolverines. Suffice it to say, Kyle's thrilled to see his alma mater and the #1 overall seed in this year's field come to town.
Yeah, I knew it was a possibility, and when they got selected to play here on Sunday, I was excited. I know they have a legitimate chance to win this regional and move on to the Frozen Four, so I'm excited for sure. They got 7 or 8 studs that are going to play in the NHL within the next 2 or 3 years. This is one of the best teams in Michigan history, and I know, myself included, and all the alumni across the country, we're just super excited.
Nearly half of the 28 players currently on Lehigh Valley's roster chose the NCAA route as a means to their professional development. Guys like Lazinski and Kyle touting the myriad benefits they experienced from taking the college path.
I think college is more the kind of the slower route per se. You get more time to develop, mature, get bigger, faster, stronger. And I think that kind of helped me kind of build my game.
I just feel like the 4 years I just matured a lot. A lot of kids coming to college and maybe not taking school as serious as they can, and college is tough and it takes a lot of commitment, and just away from the rink I just felt like everybody grows up so much, and if you have a good coach, in which we did, they demand a lot from you, work ethic, time management, integrity, everything. So I feel like college definitely shaped me to who I am today.
Kyle's Wolverines faced off against the Yellow Jackets of American International earlier today, while the Midwest Regional Nightcap pits second-seeded Quinnipiac against number 3 St. Cloud State tonight at 8 o'clock. The regional final will then take place on Sunday at a time to be determined. But Kyle expects that no matter when the game is played, the PPL Center will be packed with hockey fanatics just like usual.
This is a great building for college hockey. It's super nice. It's it's updated, and I feel like we're going to draw a good crowd for here. I know Michigan has one of the biggest alumni in the country, so I feel like their fans are going to be here, and I'm sure Quinnipiac, St. Cloud, they're going to find their way here too.
On the scene for the Service Electric Network, I'm Dan Freemuth.
Fans, tonight we celebrate a career milestone for one of our Phantoms. On March 25th, 2022 at Place Belle in Laval, Quebec, Cal O'Reilly stepped onto the ice for his 1,000th professional game, an achievement that attests his exemplary leadership, talent, determination, and love for the sport. Joining Cal tonight on the ice are his wife Tara, children Camden, Callie, and Finley, and his parents, Bonnie and Brian. Please turn your attention to the video board for a special message.
Hey Cal, it's Mike Madano. How are you? I just want to take a minute and congratulate you on 1,000 games. Way to go. Quite a milestone. 1,000 games in any league is something to be proud of. So hope you had an enjoyable night. Hope you enjoyed it with friends and family. I hear you deserve it. You've been grinding out there for a long time, staying healthy, pushing yourself. You don't get to 1,000 games by luck. So all the best, man. Keep it going. Take care, bud. See ya.
Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm Wayne Gretzky, and I just wanted to reach out and say, Cal, congratulations. 1,000 games. Good for you, man. Keep going. Get to 2,000.
Hey, Cal, it's Snook. Just want to congratulate you on 1,000 pro games. It's something truly incredible. It's a lot of heat packs for that old back years, but again, just want to say congrats, and I can look up to you in so many ways, not just as a hockey player, but as a father and a husband and a friend. The way you treat people is so amazing, and I know you still got a lot left to do in the game, but I just want to say congrats on this milestone. I'll let you get back to chucking sauce and yelling at the refs, but again, so proud of you. I love you, man. Congrats.
Fans, please join us in congratulating Cal O'Reilly on this major accomplishment as Phantoms co-owners Rob Brooks and Jim Brooks present a commemorative award.
Well, I gotta say, Cal O'Reilly is certainly the heart and soul of this Lehigh Valley Phantoms team. He is a great leader in that locker room and a great leader on the ice. Cal O'Reilly is probably one of the best players on this Lehigh Valley Phantoms team. He is a great guy on and off the ice, and he's very passionate about the game of hockey and very passionate about being a Lehigh Valley Phantom. He is a student of the game, and he's teaching the younger generation how to be better and how to hone their craft. Cal O'Reilly, thank you for what you do for this Lehigh Valley Phantoms team. Now that we got everything out of the way, tonight the Lehigh Valley Phantoms will face off against the Wilkes-Barre Penguins in the season finale here on Flyers Minor League Report, Phantoms Edition. This is the last Phantoms game of the season as the Lehigh Valley Phantoms will face off against the Wilkes-Barre Penguins. When we last left off, the Lehigh Valley Phantoms were absolutely dominated by the Cleveland Monsters. They fell to the Cleveland Monsters in regulation. Tonight, the Lehigh Valley Phantoms will be looking to end this season with some pride as they face off against the Wilkes-Barre Penguins in the season finale of Phantoms hockey. I'm Timmy Flyers Guy, and thank you everyone for joining me in the season finale of Flyers Minor League Report, Phantoms Edition. I'd like to thank each and every Lehigh Valley Phantoms fan and every person who supported me in all my videos. Thank you so much, and let's go Phantoms. I will see you guys next season.